If this stuff isn't starting to piss you off, I don't know what will. In the last 24 hours, there are rumors that the Trump administration is now pushing for federal agencies to stop observing Black History Month. This was something that I saw on D.L. Hughley's page. I thought, oh my God, no way. So I started looking into it. And basically, a whistleblower has come out and said that there are directives floating around federal agencies telling them to take down anything that pertains to any type of cultural observances. So that means Black History Month, any type of women's celebrations, all fall under those types of directives. And, honestly, I'm not surprised. It's disheartening. It's pathetic and sad, but I'm not surprised by it because when Donald Trump signed the executive order to end diversity, equity, and inclusion, this did not just end using the acronym DEI. This basically ended anything at the federal level and even at the state college level because they're starting to threaten these colleges with withholding their funding if they don't get rid of these programs. But this means that anything that uses the term or falls under any type of umbrella that uses diversity, in their statement goes away. And so when these colleges are being told, hey, if you don't get rid of these departments, you're going to lose some of your federal funding. These colleges, many colleges, have decided to just get rid of these diversity, equity, and inclusion departments. And now you have this push to get rid of, Black History Month at the federal level. And again, this is a whistleblower. Much of this hasn't been substantiated yet, but why would it be? These are things that come to fruition days, maybe months after a whistleblower comes out and starts talking about it, right? But why would it surprise anyone? Colleges are already doing it. Businesses are already doing it. I decided to call my daughter last night to check in with her, and because she's a counselor at a college, and she's saying that even at her school, they're starting to feel the effects of this as well. They were talking about getting rid of their diversity, equity, and inclusion department, and now are talking about renaming it or reassigning it so that they can continue to get federal funding to help these marginalized communities. What you guys have to understand is that at a lot of colleges, diversity, equity, and inclusion houses a lot of these cultural kind of departments and clubs, right? I know at my college we have an Emoji Club. And that club, what it does is it takes kids from marginalized communities. This could be poor kids or Black kids, brown kids, white kids, who need that extra assistance, who need extra counseling, who need extra help with choosing classes. It also takes them and allows them to travel to other colleges to see those college campuses, allows them to go to historically Black colleges and universities, other colleges all over the country, so that they could see what it would look like to be a college student at one of these schools. A lot of these kids who are in this program that helps them, that allows them to travel to other colleges have barely been outside of their city. This is how we bridge inequities in this country, and now we're talking about getting rid of these things. So when you take away diversity, equity, and inclusion, which takes away funding from marginalized communities, from kids and college students who need that extra assistance, why would it shock you that that would lead to no longer observing Black History Month? And I know, again, this isn't substantiated yet, but think about this for a second. When you get rid of and Donald Trump runs on the platform of ending, diversity, ending equity, ending inclusion, getting rid of wokeness, when you run on that type of platform, that is what you're saying. You are saying you don't want to observe Black History Month. You don't want to observe women's history. You don't want to observe the LGBTQIA plus community. And if this and it doesn't happen this year, I will guarantee you within the 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency, there will be a push to not only no longer observe Black History Month, but to also no longer observe Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Mark my words, bookmark this post, that is going to happen. You already have colleges, you already have businesses, you already have federal agencies that are starting to take away their diversity, equity, and inclusion areas, that are starting to talk about not observing these days. And right now, if you were to Google, observance of Black History Month, you'd find many government pages that have statements about Black History Month on them. Those are going to go away. That's going to go away next. And so it's disheartening because many people voted for what Donald Trump was saying he was going to do in the first 24 hours. He was going to lower the price of eggs, lower the price of your gas, lower the price of your groceries, and end the wars. In 24 hours, he was going to do that. Instead, in his first 4 or 5 days in office, he has done nothing but divided this nation by getting rid of initiatives and programs that help communities that need the most help. So my question is, where do we bridge these gaps now? If we're getting rid of the programs that are helping marginalized communities get a leg up or get a hand up, how are we now going to do that? I don't think the Trump administration, I don't think the Republican Party has ever cared about that. And it kind of makes you wonder, because I went to the pages of many of these black conservatives, of course, Byron Donalds, Tim Scott, and Byron Donalds has had many times probably, I think I look back the last 3 years, has observed Black History Month. Now, he also made a post about Martin Luther King Jr. on January 20th. And on that same day, after making a post about MLK, was riding around with Charlie Kirk, who does not like MLK, thinks he was a bad person, thinks we should not be celebrating him, and thinks we should overturn the Civil Rights Act. And I've said many times, when you're a black conservative, you have to put up with the subtle racism. You have to put up with your community being bastardized and criminalized and criticized by Republicans, and just put up with it. And now you have people, black leaders like in the Republican Party, or black Republican leaders, who have observed Black History Month, MLK Day, and now they're going to have to just put up with the Trump administration saying no more of that. This is absolutely nuts to me that we're having this conversation in 2025, that we're talking about getting rid of Black History Month and probably pushing towards not observing MLK Day as well, because this is what the Republican Party wants to do. And this is what Donald Trump ran on. So when you thought it was about your groceries, your gas, and your and ending wars, things that he was going to do so fast, it was going to be so easy, he has done none of those things. Understand, the things he's done with deportation and DEI has not made your life any better at all. You're still sitting there with high gas prices, high grocery prices, and a war happening between Ukraine and Russia. That's still going on. He hasn't done any of those things. And so, again, you take away DEI, this is where we're going. And I'm saying, this is why I've said this so many times, and this is why myself and other creators were talking about Project 2025 and the racism and all these things, because we knew this is where we were going to be. And this is where we are now. And so that's why it's so important the next 2 years to take back the House and Senate, 2 years after that to take back the presidency, and start overturning some of these things that Donald Trump is doing. And I don't know, these things could cause irreparable damage. And I know some of you guys are going to say, why do you even think we're going to get to vote in 2 years or have a chance to get rid of Donald Trump in 4 years? Believe me, I am with you on that. There's the optimistic part of me that says, voting is still going to work, and that's the way that we make sure we change this nation. And then there's the pessimistic part of me that's saying, hey, they're trying to give Donald Trump a third term. He's trying to take away rights from people. He's trying to threaten these states with voter ID things, telling them that he's going to take away their federal funding if they don't go to voter ID and all these types of things. So believe me, I understand where you guys are coming from, but there's an optimistic side of me that has to believe that we have to still fight to make sure we change things at the legislative level in order to change things in this country. I'll take your guys' comments in the comment section. What do you think about this? Even if it's not happening now, are you with me in believing that the push to get rid of Black History Month and MLK Day is going to be coming? Or do you think that that's just, those things are just things that they're talking about to try to scare us? I personally don't ever come on here and try to spread hyperbole to you guys. I try to spread things that I actually think are going to happen. And a lot of things that I was saying before this election might happen, they're coming to fruition now. So again, I appreciate you guys. I'll take your comments in the comment section. And again, if you haven't subscribed to my page yet, please do so. I appreciate you guys. Period.
Don't want no enemies or ops. envying they heart, I tell them stop. Vacation on the yacht.